I sat there, just going back and forth in this old boat, just like a ship in a bottle. You came round, hopped on the bridge and took command, and so we sailed into the night. I couldn't set a course on my own, didn't know which way was the North Star or even Sagittarius Day. I couldn't care at all on my own, didn't know which way was the North Star or even Sagittarius Day. We set sail, not on a rough sea, but just floating free from the bottom. And you said, let's just see where the jump takes us all together. Let's jump together. And the systems fell, we scanned them all. We put our names against those first discoveries, wonderful memories. The sectors passed, we own them all. Something more notable. We took some shots to show our friends some things they won't believe. All the things that I have said, all the places I have been. Oh, I have crossed the void they won't believe. Yeah, I've looked into the eye. Yeah, I've brought a lot since you all hopped aboard that night. I sat there, just going back and forth in this old boat, just like a ship in a bottle. You came round, hopped on the bridge and took command, and so we sailed into the night.
System scan complete.
faces lit up with death. No one seemed to escape them, copper or glass. They had the power, used it gladly. Nobody asked. The answers never were given. So when we stand together, know the record show that it was error. Not a savior, but a devil in our midst. A holocaust they planned forever, but the flag returned with vigor. Spanning space right into our place. Each tale found opens up a sordid past. Each voice talks of despair, of betrayal. In these words lies our fears and machinations. Did we ever make the choice? Did we ever make the choice? Did we ever make the choice?
Prospector limit engaged. Asteroid scan.
Look out, that this mother load is gonna blow. Get back, stay back, before the poles of mine, you know. I got my limpets, don't forget your limpets. Gonna scoop up a rock or two. I got a blaster, don't forget your blaster. Dig 'em out when you blow it true. Searching all the skies for an overlap. A carrier will soon be mine. Keeping miles peeled for those empty squares. Pirates are about all the time. If you play in open, look out, this mother load is gonna blow. Get back, stay back, all these border poles are mine, you know. I got a Cobra, wanna get a cutter, but this rank, you know. I get the credits, head out to an gallon, right to the top of the class I go. Searching all the dreams for an overlap, looking for an orangey glow. When this tub is full, I'll head out of here, somewhere where the pirates don't know. 'Cause we check in our look out, mother load is gonna blow. Get back, stay back,
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous,
and the fantastic community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
3, 2,
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 541 of Lave Radio, the show that talks about the universe of Elite Dangerous and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in the Ori Sidewinder Bar for this episode, we have our SRV Banksy, Commander Alec Turner.
Hey folks, good evening.
We have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Claire Good.
No, other way around. Commander Sidekick, otherwise known as Claire Good. You'll get it right eventually, Colin. We've only known each other for like 5 years. It's okay. You'll get there.
Yes, I'm getting... It's the heat. I'm not recovering from it very well. I'm overheating. I need fans in my head. Right, and also joining us, we've got the Chris Mark IV, who'll be hanging out in the base. Or the bar. Hello. So, yes, if you wish, you can join us live. As I said, we are hanging out in-game with Chris in the bar. But if you can't get to us in-game, you can also join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat or go to twitch.tv/Lave Radio. So, let's have a quick run around the crew. We don't have a Ben this week because... his missus is suffering from a kidney infection, so get well soon, Claire. Yeah, everybody else. Let's start with Alec. How have you been this week?
I have, have very little to report on. It seems like a really dull week thinking back, but I did go and so my dear old stepmom, we're trying to get we sort of got her a live-in carer. And the second living carer came this week. So my sister was over there to meet her, and my sister was telling me this story afterwards about how this really nice lady forced a load of jollof rice down her, insisted that she ate this huge place of jollof rice. Now, I don't know if anyone's familiar with jollof rice, but luckily I listened to the Off Menu podcast with James A. Castor, and they interview people about food. And this comes up a lot, and apparently it's a big deal. It's like this thing. It's this quite spicy sort of Nigerian rice, or sort of African rice. But there's this big sort of war between Nigeria and Ghana, like a sort of fun, tongue-in-cheek war about who makes the best jollof rice and whose is the most traditional. And they have like literal kind of rap battles and things with each other where they slag off each other's rice. It's quite a thing. It's really funny. You can Google it. It's called the Jollof Rice Wars. Anyway, so I was forearmed. So when I went to meet this new carer, she did, as predicted, have a huge pan of jollof rice on the go, and I was forced to have a meal at 3 PM that I didn't really need. But it was really nice. And then I teased her about it not being as good as Ghanaian rice, which she thought was quite funny. Yeah, so that was a bit of culture, and then I had a complete DIY farce as well. So those kind of door strips you get, they sort of go under the door, and they often bridge the gap between two different types of flooring and things. And we had this old metal strip that wasn't doing very well, so I did the whole proper dad DIY thing of I sourced a nice wooden thing, and I cut it to shape, and I chiseled out bits for the bits of cable and the odd nooks and crannies to go through until it was the perfect size to slot into place. Slotted it in and then realised the fucking door wouldn't close because it was too thick. So the metal piece is now back now, and the bit of wood is in the garage, and that's chalk that one up to.
The worst thing would be is if your missus turned around and said, "I'll call my dad."
yeah. You never want to be outdone by the better at DIY dad, do you? I'm not bad at DIY, but I know when to cut my losses, and I thought the thought of just getting the door off, and it's like, forget it. I'll just put the metal one back. Anyway, that's an exciting week in the Turner household. In game, I've been doing a few fun things actually. I've got my interesting colonization systems and stations forum thread, which is still getting a few things being submitted to it, so it's growing slowly and steadily. So I've been visiting a few of those places. There's some really cool places out there. People have put planetary bases in some very cool locations. Or what I'm getting a few of now, which is really nice, is people submitting stations that have got some of the cosmetics applied. So if anyone's kind of thinking of forking out for some of these station cosmetics, then there are places on my list that you can go and visit and see what they look like. Meanwhile, back in my colonization system, where we've been having some civil wars, so that I'm pleased to announce that the race marshals are now in control of the Dracare Rally finish line. Yes! We've taken Dracare Point and the Happy Bottom Riding Club, so the cats can have the rest of the system for now. And lastly, I have been doing a lot of buckyball racing, but I think we will speak more on that in a bit.
Good. In that case, how about Claire Good Commander Psykit?
Got there my full name all the time. I think I'm in trouble. Man.
When I start, apparently, currently, kids, it's when I start using the middle name, which I don't know.
You didn't know my middle name. It's pretty easy to guess.
That's when you're in trouble.
Okay. What have I been up to? Oh my gosh, it's been absolutely sweltering, beautiful, lovely. It was a gorgeous weekend. So I spent an awful lot of it out in the garden. Especially on the weekend, I spent an awful lot of it out in the garden, just staying away from being indoors where it was really hot all the time. All of my pets, well, specifically my cats, had changed from their solid state to a liquid state for most of the weekend and the last week. It's been bloody lovely. It's nice that it's a bit cooler now because I've got one of those. It's one of those times of the year in which Claire has the lovely chronic pain flare up. And I am great. So it's a really busy week as well. So I really didn't want that to be the case. What have I done in game? I've been doing an awful lot of buckyballing. Which Alec and I will probably touch on at length later. And other things. Not really much in Elite. I bought anyone who might have seen like clips during my break time might be familiar with a cheeseburger with no cheese. That is a burger. Might be aware of that line. That happens occasionally on my breaks. I bought the game that's called Galaxy Pass Galaxy Burger. I bought Galaxy Pass Station because it's discounted at the moment for like £3 or something in the Steam sale, and it's basically a space station management sim with Papers, Please attached to it, effectively. And I love management sims, obviously, and I also love Papers, Please. I've sunk a good couple of hours into it since I've got it, and it's set on a space station, and the art is delightful, and it's a really pretty really pretty game, kind of pixely game. I'm not normally into pixely games, and this is really nice. So I got that, I picked that up, and also it's Steam has got this week, starting yesterday, there was Steam Automation Fest. So if you're into automation games, so think things like Satisfactory, Factorio, Shapes 2, Modulus, which is a new one which has a demo out at the moment. There's a lot of those games currently on Steam that have demos. So if you're into making things, if you're into playing games that are ginormous time sinks, and you're and you like building like efficient factories in your video games, check out Modulus, check out the Modulus demo because that's bloody awesome. But there's loads of really cool games. Not You 10,000 Pizzas, that's not a good game, but there's loads of really cool automation games that are currently either very discounted like Dawn Apart, which is brand new and has just released, which is also a space colony game as well as an automation game. Yeah, lots of cool sci-fi automation games to take a look at. So I've been looking at quite a lot of those and going, I can't afford every single one of these. I also don't have the time to play every single one of these. And I'm still chugging through Mass Effect on a Renegade run and going, oh no, every 5 minutes, which is also really fun. It's really weird. We've not quite recruited everyone just yet. But it's we did the collector base. I feel like I've done the collector base. But it's really there's a lot of good games out at the moment, and it's a big week for games as well. There's a couple of this week. I don't know what it is about this week, but there's like 5 games that I'm really interested in playing that have all come out this week, or DLCs that have all come out this week. So I'm kind of like split in so many different directions. Really good. It's really good. But that's pretty much it. I've not done much else. Mostly just like sunned myself and play video games. What's not to love?
Yeah, that sounds great. To be honest. Okay, we've got the Chris Mark IV who's staring out of a window, not breaking it.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. What have I been up to? Well, it's been very hot up here. Not as hot as it's been down south, but a Scottish 22 is an English 47, I think, when it comes to degrees Celsius. So no, it's been absolutely roasting up here as well. We've had an absolute downpour this afternoon that I have been looking forward to so much. It has absolutely chucked it down outside, so finally brought the temperature down a little bit. What have I been doing? Not a ton of exciting stuff. There was loads of work bits, and then I learned how to replace fans on a rebroadcast transmitter this week. Alec, you talking about doing DIY. That was my bit of DIY, although I got my dad to do most of it. It involved a soldering iron, and I don't trust myself with something with a burning pointy end. I had a good go, but apparently I'm not very good. Who knew? I'm better at using electronics than repairing them, apparently. So that's me told. I will keep away from soldering irons in future.
Did you fix it, or end up going back to how it was before, like I did there?
It is now working. It had no working fans. It now does have working fans, which apparently is important in the heat. Otherwise, transmitters don't like to work. So we're now back working again, which is nice. More interesting things. Went to see the new Superman film, James Gunn's Superman, on Friday night. I thought, since it's one of the hottest days of the year, what better to do than get into a metal box with hundreds of people with slightly wonky air conditioning and watch a film. And it ended, as you would expect, with me being a puddle at the end and everyone being very hot and bothered. But yeah, the film is
brew.
Yes, exactly. Sweating Iron Brew in buckets in the cinema. But yeah, no, it was really good. Enjoyed Superman. Is it a 5-star masterpiece? No, but I still thought it was a very good adaptation, entry into the lexicon, for want of a better term, from James Gunn. So yeah, sort of establishes the character, and it jumps right in as well. When you go see it, it doesn't spend a lot of time sort of setting up origin stories that you've already seen and characters that you've already seen multiple times. It just kind of leaps in with a story and you run with it. So I thought that was pretty good, actually. In comparison to a lot of the other ones where you spend half the film on origin story that you all kind of know already. So
how many times have we seen the Waynes die whenever their new man comes out? Oh,
how many Uncle Bens must be sacrificed before we can crack on with a Spider-Man story? Yes, so this it kind of does a bit of a text summary at the beginning, and then essentially leaps in with a lot of stuff that you've already seen in the trailer is all at the beginning of the film. So you're not getting sort of too many spoilers from the trailers that then go later on. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. Pretty good. Chrissy's rapid film reviews for you. That's been about it for sort of being out and about. Gaming wise, got to admit, not done a ton of Elite. My most recent forays into Elite have been standing in a bar on a Tuesday night. So not the most exciting of gameplay for me to be running about and doing. However, I have been attempting to do a Mass Effect run. My first ever Mass Effect run, which has taken, I don't know, about a year so far. I'm doing
So excited!
the tiniest of chunks. I think I will, by the time I finish Mass Effect, I will have actually watched Claire do Mass Effect on stream about 4 more times by the time I finish my first run.
Probably.
But yeah, I'm about halfway, or I would say I'm probably past halfway mark now on Mass Effect 1. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
God.
Yeah. So I've had it there for ages. I've played it all wrong because I've played Andromeda already. But I haven't played the original trilogy.
I understand. My understanding is that it's all right to play Andromeda first because they're not really that linked.
No.
So you're okay. You're not gonna. There's a couple of. There's a couple of like mentions and there's like names that you might recognize, but I wouldn't. Having not played Andromeda, but only know so much about it.
I could kind of get while playing it where it was doing reference. You see that this is a reference, and I was like, no, but I know you're trying to tell me it is. Because they give entrance gravitas,
Andromeda thankfully doesn't spoil anything in Mass Effect. It kind of just, in the original rather, there's kind of hints that something bad's happening. We're preparing for something bad, but that's it. Doesn't tell you whether the bad thing ended goodly or badly. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
I'm just trying to spoil the end of Mass Effect for you, Chris. I'm not gonna. Well, actually, in the end of Mass Effect, I'm gonna stop myself.
Oh dear.
It's all right. I see a lot. Anyway, so that's been a lot of my my sort of gaming time recently, and that's been about it. How about yourself, Colin? What have you been up to?
Well, not much Elite this week because of what I'm going to explain in a second. I have done. I have managed to get all my colonization stuff finished with, boxed off. That's the rest of it. Because I haven't been playing about this much, I am now 9 weeks left on my fleet carrier. I've lost a week. I'm going to have to work twice as hard this week in order to get myself back up to 10 weeks of fleet carrier-ness, backup, if you like. Apparently I'm 900 and something or other on my power for helping the power out. So I need to pull my finger out with that. The main reason is because it was my daughter's 21st birthday, so she decided that we're all going to Amsterdam for 4 days, and we went to Amsterdam when it was nice and pleasant, avoiding all the heat here. So yeah, we were
cool.
Yes. So we were going around the canals, and the hotel which my wife booked was right on the edge of the red light district.
Handy.
Yes, I'll point that out again. The hotel my wife booked, right? The only reason I knew this was that one day I got sent out to get snacks. And when coming back from the so-called snack shop, I was walking through an alleyway and then wondered why there was a girl in a bikini knocking on the glass at me. And I was there thinking, what? And then the penny dropped.
Is that what they cost? That's cheap. I thought it'd be a lot more than that.
Amazing.
So yeah, I know that I know that one member of our family partaked in the coffee shops, if you see what I mean. But apart from that, there was a lot of cultural stuff going on aside from all that stuff, and it is a very nice city, and you really do have to watch out for the bikes. I thought it was a joke that they don't give us stuff and just run everybody over. No, they do. They absolutely do. And fair play to Ben, who told me to have some Britain waffle or bits and bowling. That's it. And yeah, they're lovely. So yeah. That's
those bikes. They have right of way, and they don't come from the direction you expect. You really have to keep your wits about you, don't you?
No. Well, on top of that, there's well, I thought the bike stopped for zebra crossings. They don't.
Do we need to reset the bike Colin accident counter?
No, because that counter only happens if I'm on a bike when the accident happens.
I was unsure to the nuance.
There's a separate counter for when Colin gets hit by a bike.
Yes.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Just to clarify things for future accident counters.
I think it's kind of like a Geiger counter. The closer Colin gets to a bike, it just ticks.
In other news, I may have actually secured a new position with, in other words, a new job. I'm still waiting on paperwork coming through, but so far so good. We just have to see how that pans out. So it's been a bit of a relief in the Ford household this week, if it a little. And I don't just mean the weather.
Good.
Right. So, moving on. There's not any development news to speak of this week. So, I mean, it is the week before the Panther Clipper. Jeez, I've been away so.
All right, Cole. How are we doing?
brain not function. Yeah, Python. I'm saying Python because I've got a blooming Python model in front of me, and I am trying to work out what color scheme to actually paint it. But yeah, the Panther Clipper is coming out next week, a week today. So everybody is doing the countdown for that. So I'm going to hand over straight to Alec as I completely die of embarrassment for the community news.
And now to the community coroner.
It's a dead game, innit, mate?
Right, a relatively swift community corner this week, I suspect. First up is an interesting one. I didn't put this here, but I'm happy to talk about it because I did see it. Saw it happening on I think it was X or Blue Sky or something. But yeah, it turns out that I don't know if you still can actually. Maybe someone can fill me in on this, but certainly there were occasions of people colonizing a system which contained notable stellar phenomena. Excuse me, and it initially seemed like this notable stellar phenomena were wiped out. It reminded me a little bit of what happens if you, because I've tried this a few times, if you notice like lots of geological features on a planet, like loads of geysers or things, and you decide you're going to plonk a base on top of the geysers, you have to be quite careful in the placement, because if you actually get too close, then the kind of the terrain flattening bit of colonization placement actually wipes out all the geysers. If you put them kind of on the edge of a geyser field, if you place it right, then you can have geysers on the edge of your base. But if you plonk it right on top of them, it just wipes them out. Anyway, it turns out if you colonize a system that's got notable stellar phenomena, it seemed like that wiped them out as well. If I've got this right, I believe what actually happened is that the type and position of the notable stellar phenomena changed, and they moved to a different location certainly in this particular system, and ended up with a slightly different type. So it's a bit odd. So be careful of the species out there in the galaxy and where you plonk your houses, because you might kill a very rare species. This was covered. There's an issue tracker which we'll link in the show notes, and there was also a fantastic Galnet News Digest video about it, which we'll link as well. Did I miss anything? Was there anything else on this? Did I?
No, I think you're right. I think that's about it.
That's
about it. There's quite a few people have like it said they've had similar issues.
Yeah, tangentially, again, this was sort of on social media, but I did see somebody panicking about people being able to colonize systems with Guardian stuff in them. But I believe that was debunked, and it's not actually possible, which I'm quite glad about. Because when you go to colonize, there are certain systems. What's the wording? But they're marked as not suitable for colonization. It's not just that they're it's even systems that are within range are sometimes marked as you can't have that one because it's got something in it, and I believe things like Guardian sites come under that. So yeah, you can't go colonizing a system with Guardians and turn them into your slaves. Right. Anyway, let's plow on. Next up is a video. Some of these videos I haven't watched all the way through, I confess. There was a few long ones this week, and I just haven't had time to watch them all, so I've skimmed a couple. So the first of these was called I Forgot the Best Part of Elite Exploring by Mile 13 Gaming. Mile 13 Gaming has made some excellent guides on very specific and very active bits of gameplay, how to do engineering and all sorts of bits of gathering and stuff. But they've returned to just exploring, kind of just doing nothing and chilling a bit and stepping away from the grind and all that stuff and just enjoying the act of exploration. And it's a really nice video. Mile 13 makes fantastic videos. Yeah, and it's well worth a watch. It's just for those of us, I realize it's not everyone's bag, it's like it. But for those of us who
genuinely wasn't going to say a word, Alec. How dare you?
Yeah, a little spot of exploring, then this is a nice reminder of that it's still there and it's still a thing you can do, and it's very pleasant. I've just realised I wrote down what they said. What they said is exploration is what brought me to Elite Dangerous in the first place. Let go of the grind and set off on your own journey of discovery and rediscovery. No goals, no pressure, just you, your ship, and the stars. If you're burnt out on the grind, maybe it's time to step off the beaten path. Yeah, it was good. Right, next is another guide by Spacefaring Chronicles, who's been doing a really nice beginners series. I suspect that nearly everyone listening to this podcast probably has no need of listening to this particular video. But if you are new, in which case welcome aboard, then this may well be for you. It's a real, genuine, step-by-step, right from basics guide to that very first or your very first mission that you choose for yourself in Elite Dangerous. What Spacefaring Chronicles says is, if you're brand new to Elite Dangerous and sitting in your starter Sidewinder wondering what do I do now, this video is for you. Whether you've just installed the game, finished the tutorials, or are feeling a little bit lost in Chamberlain's Rest, the step-by-step walkthrough will help you take the very first mission and get flying with confidence. And it's really good stuff. I mean, I did skim this one, but what I like about it is it's a nice reminder of, God, there's just so much stuff, even in the absolute basics of taking off and flying through the mail slot and going somewhere, that most of us just take for granted. And yeah, as I'm learning to my cost with the SRV, making tutorials is hard, and breaking it down and just remembering all the little things that aren't going to be obvious to the brand new player. There's a lot to cover. So yeah, good stuff on making that series. I always applaud people making beginner videos, good beginner guides. Right, next another very familiar name, Ricardo's Gaming, and a nice video called 7 Myths of Elite Dangerous Debunked for New Players. Yeah, and it's a good selection. It's not quite as obvious as it sounds. It's things like never fly without rebuy, and what exactly that means, and that it's not 100% hard and fast rule, and there's some things to consider, things about the pilot's district and manual docking versus auto docking, and obviously touching on the grind and bigger ships. And yeah, it is a good set of 7 things that are rolled out to every new player, and just a bit more background on them and why they're not always the hard and fast rules they might seem to be. Right, the next video I am really looking forward to watching, but this is the one I really confess I've skipped. It is long; it's about 40 minutes long, but it sounds. I love it. If it's what I think it is, I'm really looking forward to this. It's by Commander Exorcist, who, among all the other sorts of guides and things they do, they make these fantastic out there videos, which are sort of exploration montages. There are loads and loads of them now, and they're really beautiful. And this particular video is called How to Make It Out There by Commander Exorcist, and I suspect it ought to be called How to Make Out There by Commander Exorcist, because it's kind of a little peek behind the curtain of how they make their videos, how much time and effort goes into them, how much footage they get out of how much exploration and all sorts of juicy stuff like that. So yeah, I'm fascinated to see that, because a lot of the sort of videos that people like Exorcist and the Burrs make, they make it seem very easy, but I know just how much effort goes, how many hours of footage you need to shoot to get 5 minutes of really good stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that one. 2 more things. Item 6 is, this one made me chuckle, Taking the SimStar Off-Road in Elite Dangerous by Project SimStar. So I think we covered Project SimStar once before. They have a really, really beautiful a full motion rig, which they play all sorts of games, and they have a channel which is mostly about full motion rig and motion rig software and playing with them, all sorts of simulators. But they do some Elite Dangerous stuff. I think Project SimStar might have been the guy who nearly put his back out flying into Lantern Light. And basically he's at it again. He's planning to take part in my Drakier rally, my 250-kilometer SRV rally that's happening in August. So he thought he'd better do some practice with the SimStar rig. Basically, I think he practically put his back out again, because it is a bit rocky, particularly around the start area. And I'm not sure he had it perfectly tuned. And man, this thing was bouncing around like a Bronco. And rather strangely, I don't know if he does this all the time or whether he uses VR when he's not streaming, but he has a giant screen, like, flat monitor screen mounted to the front of the rig. So obviously when the rig moves, it moves with him. But man, when that SRV is bouncing along the road, that does not seem like that's good for a large monitor. But yeah, worth a watch. And lastly, I might hand over to Claire for this, although I'm sure we'll chat. But the 10K, the Buckyball Way midweek report, how's it going?
Well, it's going well. It's a fun little race, isn't it?
It is. It's
yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's so many different places on this course to potentially save time. Do you know, one thing I adore about Super Cruise Overcharge? It's such a fantastic addition to the game. And what's really nice is with buckyball races, certainly in the past, I'd always kind of have an eye on the length of the Super Cruise journey, because it used to be dead space as far as buckyball racing is concerned. Everyone would cover that distance in exactly the same time. So sitting in Super Cruise for 2 minutes, 3 minutes was a complete waste of time. There's nothing you could do to go faster or slower. So it was sort of dead air. And now it's really not, because timing when to turn the Super Cruise Overcharge off is, wow, it really can make or break a run.
It genuinely can. It genuinely can. I was a little worried when we first started, because I got like maybe 4 runs submitted in the first couple of days. I was like, oh, nobody wants to race, and then I remembered that it was hot everywhere. So less of a case of people not wanting to race, just not wanting to be sat in front of the computer. But it's definitely picked up. We did the first leaderboard yesterday. First leaderboards dropped yesterday, which have on Unlimited have in first place all 3 Mandalays, but in first place currently is Alec.
Yes.
with a ridiculous time of 22:27, which
I'm so pleased with that time.
I genuinely think it's going to take some beating that, because in second place with 26:10 is Tobias von Bran, and then in third place, and I know this is going to change by the end of the week, but in third place it's me.
I'm so excited for you. Come on, we gotta let her have it.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I've got potential. I'm gonna do a couple of runs tomorrow. I've got 2 things that I'm covering tomorrow. So I'm gonna do some more runs tomorrow. And I've been having conversations behind your back, Alec.
No. What? What about?
With Tobias about techniques that we've both been using.
I ain't sharing nothing.
No. Yeah, I've been having a couple of because you submitted screenshots. Tobias submitted a YouTube video, so I watched the fucking whole of that. So I asked him some questions about some of the stuff that he did in his run, and then we discussed it. And there's something I'm going to try tomorrow to see if it does improve my time, because I think it might.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's really fun. That's in the unlimited, and then currently as of yesterday in the regulation run, we have in third place Edelgard von Rain. I've definitely pronounced that entirely incorrectly with 39.33. J Space with 39.02, and then with 38.11 Martin Jameson, which are names that I've never read out before with racing. So it's really cool to see people having goes. And I know that other people are probably gonna get some runs in later in the week, and it's open until Monday. It genuinely is. I didn't realize quite how fun a race it was until I started doing it.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of jumps in regulation class. I mean, it's not a boring amount, but it's quite a lot. It's a bit of a chilled thing, but certainly in something like the Mandalay, it's a really nice half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Can I tell you about my funniest thing that happened so far? I think I told you about this on the stream. But so there's the bit where you drive away from the base in your SRV, and you have to drive 3.333 kilometers. And then you stop and you recall your ship, and then you wait for it to arrive, and it typically never arrives where you are. It's always about 1 kilometer away, and then you have to drive back to it. So I'm driving back to where I'm pretty sure my Mandalay is going to turn up, and then ship appears on my radar, and I target it, and I start driving towards it. And then I'm looking at the distance, and I'm thinking the bloody thing's flying away from me. So I'm really gunning it in the SRV to try and catch my own ship. And then the next thing is I think, oh God, it's going to land it's cocked up, and it's literally going to land on the pad back at the base where I started. So I follow it all the way, and then realize I've targeted a fucking NPC ship, and I've been following an NPC. Meanwhile, my poor Mandalay has been landed 3 kilometers behind me. What a dickhead.
It's a really fun race. It really there are moments with being stuck in long jump times, which are really, really frustrating, and that's just server stuff. I've only had a couple of those, but those can be pretty run breaking. For me, also picking those moments to drop out of Super Cruise and not ending up like 1,000, especially on the 2 of them are like 4K out.
Yeah.
So doing those and not ending up like 1.5 the other side, is a feat of concentration that I just do not have. But I'm working on it. I feel like I'm getting better there. And then the other thing that's really frustrating is ship recall. And especially one of the places that we stop at, the one that only has small pads, is littered in rocks. There are rocks everywhere. So you've had a wonderful run, and you've managed to jump and avoid every single fucking rock that's all the way along that way. And then you've done that, and it's great. And then the next thing you know, You recall your ship and it's halfway back and you've got to navigate those rocks again. It's not fun. It's like it's the most frustrating part. But I feel like almost every run, apart from the last few on Monday, but almost every run, every time I was cutting like a minute off my time each time, which is really fun. It's really good feeling.
It's a good one. It's a good race for learning some skills, that are useful in all sorts of, particularly with people trying to cut corners in colonization and do those runs as quick as possible. There's some good skills to be learnt from buckyballing, and it's much more fun than just cheating. Stop it, Alec. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I do have a sort of a tip on when to release Super Cruise Overcharge, or at least I'll tell people how I do it, because I've seen a lot of discussion on forum threads and things, and people quoting numbers and going, wait until the speed's this, or the time is 5 seconds, and the and all these sort of numbers, which frankly I can't be doing reading off the screen when I'm hurtling towards something in Super Cruise Overcharge anyway. The way I do it, and I find it pretty reliable, I have to say, give or take a bit, is I have orbit lines on, and I sort of go to the side a bit. So the little ellipse representing the body or the couple of bodies that I'm heading for is visible as an ellipse and not just a line. So I'm sort of slightly off to the side, and I don't know any other way to describe it than basically I turn Super Cruise Overcharge off when that starts rushing towards me very quickly. So there's a long period of Super Cruise where it's just in the distance, it's in the distance, it's in the distance, and then it starts to resolve as an ellipse because it's off to the side. And then it starts coming towards you really quickly. And at that point, turn it off. And it works pretty reliably.
Yeah.
That involves paying attention, though, man.
Yeah.
I use that moment to read chat, my guy. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
I think the thing is, everybody's been used to the 7-second rule for so long. They think, there must be something in the equivalent of for the overcharge. I haven't managed to get it right once yet, and the entire year it's been here.
Because the numbers are all changing. It changes per ship, and it changes on distance. There's so many variables. Yeah. There's no way you can put a number on it. I don't think. Not really.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's all very, very different. Like, I definitely wouldn't be using. Like, I will be a lot less. I'll be a lot quicker to turn it off in the Cobra than I would in the Mandalay, because the Mandalay just slows down so much quicker than the other one. So it's difficult to call.
Yeah, I like it because it's got that kind of instinctive skill thing that I really treasure in buckyball racing. I really treasure that there's some things you can't put numbers on, and it's just a skill that you have to learn.
Yeah, I must admit, yeah, it's because it is different from every ship. It gives it that kind of, well, it can you kind of get used to the response in one ship, and then that becomes your favorite ship. And then as soon as you try it in a different ship, you try to apply the same muscle memory, and before you know it, Jupiter's gone 6 months. Yeah.
Anyway, right. Good stuff. Enjoying the race a lot, Claire. So yeah, good. That's all I've got for Community Corner.
So yeah, if you have a community event which is taking place soon and would like for us to shout about it across the airwaves, tweet the crew or Blue Sky the crew at Lave Radio, or email us at info@laveradio.com. So the in-game events, what has the Galnet News been talking about? Well, it's been talking about power play, and it didn't go into that much detail. In fact, actually, we go into more detail than what they've done. So in that case, we'll go straight on to our power play standings this week. Remaining in 12th, we have Torval, who's gained a single system up to 588. In 11th, we have President Winters, who has gained 8 systems and up to 622. In 10th, Dentus Betrayus has gained 3 systems, taking his up to 667. Close call there. In 9th, the Pirate King Delaney, he is gained 2 systems, so he's up to 684. Kane remains in 8th, having gained 8 systems and goes up to 834 systems. And the tie has been broken. Archer now stays in 7th, having gained only 6 systems to bring him up to 847, while Antal takes the 6th spot, gaining 8 systems and up to 849. In 5th, we have Lee Young-Roo, who has gained 13 systems to take him over the 1,000 mark and up to 1,018. Grom has gained 5 places, I wish, 5 systems in to bring him up to 1,114. And in 3rd place, we have Arissa, who has gained 14 systems up to 1,480. In 2nd place, we have Mohan, who gained 6 systems up to 1,581. And still out in front by an unbelievable amount, we have Princess Aisling Duval gaining 13 systems, bringing her up to 1,661 systems, and now she takes the Stronghold total as well with 131. So that is your Power Play rankings this week.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Power Play the thing.
Antal's been creeping up this leaderboard because Antal used to be behind Kane and then past Kane and is now past Archer. I don't know if anyone's else doing that. I'm seeing the long-term picture because I sort of follow Antal, but has anyone else been steadily moving in one direction or another?
Well, yeah, Petraeus has been steadily moving down.
Right.
Because Petraeus used to be sort of like 6th, and he's now down 10th.
Oh wow. Okay.
But the top 3, the top 4 have remained that way for the last 3 years. There has been a little bit of movement now with Grom beginning to catch up, but it's a long way, and I don't know whether it's been really weird because last week there was a heck of a lot of systems gained across the board, yet this week there's not as many. It seems to be a lot more consolidation going on, especially with Aisling.
The new rules are enforced now, aren't they?
They are, which was weird because I thought that would mean that we'd see more systems change hands, but we haven't seen that yet. So
yeah, everyone gaining and no losses. So it's basically expanding into new systems, I take it then, rather than sort of competing against each other to win back systems or defeat systems.
Although I could be wrong, but a lot of these gain numbers are single figures, and I feel like they used to mostly be double figures.
Last week there was 100. There was 6. Aisling got 66 systems.
Right. So maybe that is what we're seeing. Maybe people are losing, are winning 20 but losing 17, and thus only gaining 3. And I don't know.
We'd have to really dig down into the figures on that one. These are definitely. Yeah. I do get the feeling that a lot of the Imperial powers now are not fighting one another. I've got nothing official on that, but I get a feeling that the Imperial powers are only interested in expanding and are not kind of working together, but they're not actively trying to undermine each other. I think I've always thought there were too many imperial powers anyway, but that seems to be happening. But it's a conspiracy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does feel a little. It does feel a little stagnant because I have seen systems where you've got a 3-way fight. But because of where I am, it's a 3-way fight between Imperials, and you're sort of there thinking, well, that's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Give these changes a little more time to bed in.
Yeah, we need someone to step up and produce some kind of time lapse animation of the of all the colours jostling around, and to maybe visualize this. Like,
no one would understand it.
No, I suppose not. Be fun to look at.
I'm quite sure that Ian Doncaster has got the data to do it.
I'm sure that LCU has it somewhere in a map.
If only we had some kind of way on the galaxy map of looking at these powers like they were a sort of bubble, a clearly defined.
If only.
If only. Yeah. Well, I guess it's that time of the week again.
Store alert!
Welcome back. Well, there's not really much happening again in the store either. You can get a cut price banner for Aisling, Archer, and Yongrui, because that's the going on with the CG at the moment, which I do believe is still running till Thursday. But yeah, that seems to be the only new change that's happened in the store. We think they're all holding back until next week.
Can you imagine? I wonder why. There's nothing new in the store.
Yeah.
It's because they've run out of paint, because there's some big ship coming along and they just used all
it's
the paint
using up all the paint, yeah.
Lordy, come in.
So all the new stuff is currently stuck in the mail slot.
It's almost as if you need a really big cargo carrier to deliver it, isn't it?
I just looked at the I was like, oh, I'll have a quick look and see how the community goals are doing. I know this is completely the wrong point of the show. Just like she's fucking trounced him, hasn't she? Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely kicked their backsides from here to Alpha Centauri and back. It's been.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, forget Alpha Centauri. Sagittarius A, she's managed to kick them to. That's what's really bad. So yeah, and that's on top of being on top of the power play leaderboard as well. So go figure.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it? I'm not going to put my best men on why she's winning.
It's funny, I didn't get involved in this CG. I've just been too busy with other things, I suppose. But I'm hearing reports of it being really good. Like, it's a really sort of fun way of encouraging PvP, and because everyone's there for the bun fight that it's supposed to be, and yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it is, because like you, I've missed out on this one. But if it is as fun as what other people have reported to me being, I will definitely be getting involved in the next one.
I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I got a bit confused when this one got announced, because people were struggling to get the right conflict zones if they weren't pledged to powers and things, and that kind of put me off attempting to figure it out. I was going to go back and try and see what I actually needed to do in order to get things to count, but then I've not ended up going off and doing it.
I don't know if there were genuine issues or not, or whether some people were saying it was pretty straightforward. But I think it depended on, like you say, whether you were pledged to one of these three or not. I think there was slightly different.
There was someone in chat while we were recording last week. I'm really sorry, I can't remember who it was, but there was someone in chat going, "Oh, it's so easy. People have blown this out of proportion." And then Ben tried to do it through the whole of the show, and we got to the end of the show. I mean, please bear in mind that this is Ben we're talking about as well. But we got to the end of the show, and after we did all the sign-offs and that, we were like, "How was it, Ben?" And Ben went, "It's really fucking complicated." So
Right.
I mean, we're getting lots of very, very different reports from the sites, but I mean, from like once people have got over those teething problems, I genuinely think it's been from what you were saying, Alec, I genuinely do believe it's been quite fun, and it does make me eager to give it a go. And
one thing I
give a
really
shit
like
about anything involved.
Yeah, one thing I really liked was a comment on Loose Screws. Who this is much more their bag. They're really into their combat.
Yeah.
And I really like to comment on last week's show that a lot of sort of griefing and ganking happens at places like engineer bases where beginners are going and they get jumped by somebody, and it might be role play, but it's almost certainly not. Or you're at Shinrata and somebody jumps you, and it's almost certainly not role play. But in this context where there's like a raging battle between three obvious powers that people have pledged to, and there's genuine kind of in-game law, reason, role play, PvP going on all around you. There's almost no point for griefing, or if it's happening, you wouldn't notice it because everyone's too busy having a bloody good laugh, having the fight that the game wanted them to have. And there was a really amusing comment about system chat, which is, normally at some sort of griefers hangout is just a toxic cesspit of the awful things being written, and there wasn't, you kind of couldn't see the awful stuff for all the in-game role play banter that was happening. System chat was just full of people slagging off Aisling and Archer and Yong Rui and getting, it was PvP as the game intended it to be. It sounded really good.
Yeah. Ironically, it's the kind of PvP that I was craving in Power Play version 1 that wasn't allowed to happen.
Yeah.
And if they do more of these events, I think I think it will put that bit in that I really have missed, to be honest. So, right. Well, at this moment in time, we will take a break and we'll come back with our discussion this week.
We all know what it's like. You're busy managing your settlement when suddenly the alarms go off.
Oh no, not again.
That's right. A commander with a Federation naval rank of Admiral, an Imperial King no less, has landed in a ship worth over 100 million credits and is killing all your staff, while they look around for a 10 credit adhesive to glue an upgraded scope to their 100,000 credit assault rifle. They fly away with their super glue and you're left with a problem. How are you going to get your agricultural plant back up and running?
How am I going to get my plant up and running?
How are you going to find staff at short notice?
How am I going to find staff at short notice?
How are you going to deal with all those bodies?
There's bodies everywhere, and they've stained the carpet.
Wonder no longer. Call Aries Crime Scene Cleanup Services.
Hello, I'm Harry, Clary's Mine. After a sudden increase in robberies and murders by commanders since 3307, I've gained valuable expertise in cleaning up bodies, recruiting new staff and restocking stationary lockers. Now you can benefit from my experience by signing up to our Crime Scene Cleanup Service subscription plan.
That's right. For only a small monthly fee, when your settlement alarms are activated, our rapid response cleanup crew will be dispatched, along with our patented Cadaver Scoop 150. The Cadaver Scoop 150 can be mounted to surface reconnaissance vehicles and skimmers to make tidying up your settlement a breeze.
Wow, the bodies are gone.
Our recruitment team has potential new employees on standby across the galaxy, ready to fill your vacant roles in security, logistics, administration, processing, and more.
My plant's operational again. Thanks, Aries Crime Scenes Cleanup Services.
Ari's Crime Scene Cleanup Services. We'll have your settlement as good as new before the next ship arrives. Cadaver Scoop 150 disposal bags sold separately.
Oi, how you doing, my brother? So you run some data and you left your little sidey and you're starting to think about maybe a ship that can punch a little bit harder. Well, the Killback, the one with the little flappy wings, is just what the doctor ordered. It is multi-crew enabled and is the smallest ship with a fighter bay, so you can point and they will do your bidding. Ha! It's got 3 utility mounts, 2 small and 2 medium hard points, plus a whole batch of compartments. So if you want a bit of fun, grab a Killback, my son.
This July, Special Effect are inviting you, Commander, to complete 10k your way.
You choose the method to make it to 10k. Like this Commander taking 10,000 pictures of their Aspen front of things.
This Commander has flown 10k into the black.
I'm really far away! This one is waving at 10,000 NPCs.
My arms are so sore.
Fully explore 10k class star systems.
Drive 10k away from your settlement.
Mine 10,000 tons of ore.
Sell 10,000 mugs.
Make it to 10k your own unique way.
Visit specialeffect.org.uk and sign up for 10k your way.
It's finally here. The Panther Clipper Mark II. The biggest, baddest shaver in town is back and now has 25% more trimming storage capacity for the same amount of physical space. Because science. Size doesn't need to mean inconvenience with our new foldable hand grips to fit the charging pad. No need for any other clippers or cutters. The Panther Clipper Mark II is all the shaver you'll need. The Panther Clipper Mark II from Saracen. Are you happy now?
Welcome back. So, we're going to have a quick discussion based around the question of the week that Claire put out. So, Claire?
Oh, I scrabbled. I really scrabbled. I struggled with the question of the week this week. First and foremost, I'm very sorry it was so late because I sat in the sun and listened to Black Diamond FM. And when Black Diamond FM finished and I was sat in the sun, all I wanted was a nap. So I ended up having a nap. So the question of the week was posted like 3 hours late. So my apologies to those people. But I was kind of like, it's one of those weeks. We sometimes have those where the shows are going to be slightly shorter because we're in such anticipation of something that's very, very nearly coming, and we don't have like development news. As you can see, there was hardly anything in the development news. It's been a bit of a quiet week, so I was really struggling with something to say, and I went around the houses and decided eventually. After a lot of things, and I realized as I wrote it that it was kind of baity, and oh my gosh, did Twitter respond? But I said, is there one prediction that you've made in Elite that still hasn't come to fruition? So I've not given any examples there, but is there one prediction that you've made that still hasn't come to fruition? Do you still believe that it will happen at some point, or have you changed your mind with obvious answers that I'm sure that you can think of, thinking of like bait and for engagement? But I figure what we could do to start with is maybe we could ask the crew first and see if there's anything that they predicted would happen a long time ago or very recently, and they're still hoping something comes to fruition with it, or they don't think it's going to happen anymore. Does anybody want to jump in with one?
I'll jump in.
Thank you, Alex. Thank God.
Well, funnily enough, it came up today in the context of a forum thread from somebody who just kind of remembered that on the roadmap at the end of the year was a secret unannounced feature and what that might be. And it reminded me, because of what I predicted in the forum thread, that when around about the time of Odyssey, I suppose, or possibly leading up to it. This is me just getting very excited about what I wanted, I suppose. But when there was talk of atmospheric landings, I immediately went to clouds and rain. I suppose I was thinking of like the shot from Star Wars, the second one, where they go to Cloud City, Bespin, or whatever it was, and the ships are just flying in and out. You sort of see them going in and out of clouds. And just the idea of, I don't know, rain on the windscreen of a Cobra and just seeing a Cobra flying through the rain. I was so looking forward to weather. I was ever so slightly disappointed. I mean, we got our blue skies, which do look lovely, and not just blues, but pinks and reds and all sorts of lovely colours. But I do still sort of cling to the idea of a little bit of weather. And what I said in that forum thread was that this time, well, the year before, when there was an unannounced feature at the end of the roadmap, I feel like they downplayed it. I'd have to go and dig out the very first video where they mentioned the 24 roadmap, I suppose. But I feel like they downplayed it because I remember thinking, it'll be something small, it'll be some little self-contained bit of gameplay that one of the developers has had a few spare minutes to knock up. And when it turned out to be colonization, I was really quite blown away. Like, wow, it's a big thing. It's not a little thing at all. It's a big thing. So, of course, this year, given that they're following the same game plan as last year, I've got myself semi worked up about the prospect of what's coming at the end of this year being a big thing. So I'm going to dare to dream that we might get another class of planet opens up that has weather systems. It's a big dream, isn't it? But there you go.
It is a big dream. But to tell you the truth, Alec, I think that one's still possible.
Yeah.
I really do think that one's still possible because you could have to do, you can add new things into colonization for that and all that and all the stuff that comes with it.
I was thinking about the reason for it because Frontier are very much on this thing of not just putting something in for no reason or because it's cool. Like we had the story of Darien and the Hollow ads and how that found its place with, power play. So I was trying to think of a reason for atmospherics, and the idea that popped into my head was that you could introduce a class of planet that's actually quite dangerous to land on. Lightning storms and dense clouds where the visibility is terrible and, high winds and things that are difficult to navigate. In glide mode, which is a really good feature of Elite, by the way, glide mode. That it could be a resource gathering thing, that you could have maybe some of the highly valued on-foot engineering mats that are still quite hard to come by down on planets in environments that are difficult to navigate. I don't know. That was
I'll tell you one thing that would be interesting if you want just the weather on the windscreen effect.
I do, yeah.
Is that if I remember rightly, one of the things that David Braben really wanted to put into Frontier First Encounters was cloud bases, which would exist in the upper atmosphere of gas giants.
Yeah,
so can you imagine approaching one of them, flying through all the the clouds and the gas giant? Obviously, some of them are different levels of gas. You could go through. I mean, there is speculation that somewhere in Jupiter, between the different layers of gas, is actually a layer which could actually support human life. I mean, Arthur C. Clarke was one of the guys that was like, it could be possible, but yeah, can you just imagine that sort of you could fly through the upper clouds of a gas giant and land on something similar to Cloud Base from Empire Strikes Back, and I think that would be great. Of course, then you got to work out what other gameplay you would specifically have for that. But
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Frontier will do any of these nice to have things without the gameplay reason to go with it anymore.
I think you're close though, Alec, with something where you could have some type of scoop. So it's like an equivalent of a mining thing, and you've got to follow a trail of the gas in order to collect it, in order to make it a little bit smarter than just flying around with your cargo scoop open kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a kind of flying through gas when we had the Titans, the Fargoid Titans. You know, that outer perimeter of the Titan.
That's true.
Was
And
essentially
also
a
the
gas
debris
cloud.
fields. Yeah, the debris fields.
Yeah,
as well
the debris fields, the gravity moving through there. So, and how hard can it be? An adjustment of that into, like you say, having a platform, a kind of orbital platform that's on the edge of a gas giant with some gaseous substance around it. I think that could be possible with what they've got there. Like you say, it just depends on if it's worth it for gameplay. Is it worth it for adding stuff on? I mean, it would be another thing that people could add to their colonization, I guess. So it'd be another station type that you'd be able to build in your colonized system. You'd be able to sell some cosmetics on it and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's potentially there, isn't it? As a new type of thing that players could build. Maybe they won't place them themselves in the game, because you would need to reseed all those things into the galaxy, wouldn't you? But now that we have colonization, we could be the people that do the seeding.
World's our oyster, man. World's our oyster.
Mm.
Galaxy's our oyster.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, they don't need to reseed it at all. They could say that it's only new part of colonization, new function available. It could be a brand new station.
Yeah, they could manually place a few out of, that they want to do, and then the rest could all be generated by us, because people will want to go out and put in the new stations. A lot of people want to put in like asteroid bases, ice asteroids, and all that sort of stuff, because you don't see them as frequently when you're out and about. So if they came along with a new station, imagine a bunch of people would start building them as colonization pieces.
Just add new noob hammers to it, and everybody will be building them.
Just every once in a while, it sets fire to the gas nearby and blows you up to give a bit of a landing risk or something.
I suppose it is a bit weird retconning this stuff back into into a pre-existing galaxy. It's a bit like you know that system that you overlooked last week when you were colonizing because there was nothing there. Well, this week, if you go back, you can do a thing that wasn't there last week.
Yeah, there's that really cool gas giant you can actually do something with now. But that's why I'm saying if you tied it into colonization, then your kind of hand wavium is, we've been developing these platforms at these couple of places where we've seeded them. Yeah. And now they're available for colonizing space. And
that was also Odyssey as well. We got all of these new systems, all of these new things, and they just happened. It's not.
We did, but we sort of got away with that because it was a whole new game. You were, I don't know. It felt a bit
Horizon
like
bases on the ground, though. They were in our existing on the planets that we had already landed on.
Bases as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd already been above.
I don't know.
It was a bit jarring, but then Blaine Grey Rabbit has actually pointed out, does anybody actually know what the gravity in the upper layers of a gas giant will be? And
I don't know. I don't want to think about the soup that we will become.
Yeah, pan for clippers the size of an eagle by the time you get left.
Dear. I suppose mine is that I've always wanted, since Odyssey came out, I've always wanted the full VR experience on that. And there's one thing that I thought, it'll come down the line. But as we got further and further away from the Odyssey release date, it's become pretty obvious that they're never going to do anything with VR on foot, which I think is a damn shame. And I understand why, because the number of people who have bought VR headsets, I don't think there's enough out there to justify it, even though it would be bloody brilliant. And yeah, if I put my game dev head on, it wouldn't be worth the time. Although unless you get someone like Vive or Meta coming in and saying specifically, we will pay you to do this, I don't see it happening. as much as the inside of me just cries whenever I think about that. Or I get out my spaceship when I got my VR headset on, and all of a sudden I've just got flat screen hell.
Yeah.
It's like you stepped into a cinema, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. Well, it is that actually, because you look about, you just got a box in front of you, and everything else is just grey. And if there's one thing that I know that I'm doing, is I'm going to be doing on foot missions. I don't go into VR at all. If it's going to be 100% in space, then it's VR all the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. Sorry to be a bit of a downer.
No. That's kind of a good thing. Like you have like we all have these things where we have these expectations, and then when we I was going to say when we come to our senses, and that's not necessarily the right word. It is the right word for some of the people on this list. But when there is a time when you have to sort of like be a little bit more pragmatic about it and accept what you have rather than what you really want. That was such a Debbie Downer. I'm so sorry. What about you, Chris?
What about me? I want a bit more on foot gameplay, and I was kind of thinking of what do I mean, and I'm thinking like some sort of salvage or something more to do with the sort of cutter in the suit. It's like a bit more to do on foot. I've always thought they would add something additional to Odyssey. Some more mission types and bits. We've only really had a little bit as part of the Fargoid War with the Spire site stuff, and then there was the reactivation missions. But that all kind of ended with the Fargoid War. So we've not really had any additional on-foot bits, and I quite enjoy a lot of the little on-foot missions. Like, because you can do them in little short bursts. I also enjoy doing the frontline combat.
Yeah.
So I've always thought there might be the potential of adding some more in there. But if I was going for like an easier sounding one, like something more interesting to do with salvage, we've got some big wrecks and things that have landed on planets. It'd be quite cool to have to sort of cut your way through in order to get a MacGuffin to hand back to someone. Someone's looking for a rare bit.
Just a single panel or something.
Yeah, where you've got to cut through a few panels and overcharge a few things and sort of maneuver yourself in order to get it. Maybe use the SRV to get to an awkward bit and then break in and then to sort of multi-stage it. But I understand how convoluted that is. So I kind of think I'm barking up the wrong tree here. But I sort of one of my predictions was that we were going to get a bit more on-foot stuff. But yeah, it's not happened yet.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, they put more on-foot stuff in than I expected. And one of the things I have enjoyed is actually some of the power play stuff, even though they've got... to begin with, I'll say this. If you'd asked me about that, I'd say six weeks ago, I would have said, I hate it. I don't see the point of it. And until I started to get good at it. And then all of a sudden, I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah. At that moment where you go, oh no, actually, this is quite fun. Now I'm more confident in what I'm doing. It's quite fun. I love the on-foot stuff. I really do. I think it's so much fun. Mine is and will forever be hover bikes. It is a hill that I'm going to die on. The game will be sunset. I won't be playing it anymore because my hands won't work at all and I won't be able to fly a spaceship anymore. And I'll still be waiting for hover bikes to come into the game. It is. I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen at all in the slightest. I never think we're going to get another SRV at all. I just don't think it's going to happen, and it makes me sad. But
hover bikes.
Am I going to lose hope? No.
Yeah,
you'll get your hover bike when I get my little mini skimmer companion that follows me about.
Yeah, I must admit, it's that's something that Ben is always on about as well, isn't it? He says, "Oh, I want a blooming hover bike. Yeah. It's just a skimmer with a cockpit on. How hard can it be?" And you're there going, "Okay, Ben."
I enjoy I enjoy the Scorpion a lot. I've really enjoyed the Scarab. I've fallen back in love with the Scarab again this week. It's been more fun to fly. Fly, yeah. Okay.
Fly.
It's been
Nice.
it's been fun to fly. It's a lot more fun when it's not got any wheels on the ground, is it? But I like Frontier gave us racetracks in game. They gave us racetracks, and we still only got 2 vehicles that we can choose from our racetracks. And I'd really like another vehicle to choose from. Please, Frontier, that would be really lovely. I don't think it's going to happen. Do I hope it's going to happen? Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting lots of things in the comments here, sort of saying about mega ship boarding and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Well, they should have answered the question of the week then, shouldn't they, Colin?
They should have.
They should have, because I have time to collate them and put them into a list. We asked the question of the week on a Sunday, usually around between 12 and 2. This week it was much later for reasons of napping and sunshine. And we asked this question on Twitter or X, Blue Sky, and on our Discord. So if you happen to be following us on any of those things or in our Discord, you can come and answer the question of the week when we post it. So as we said, there's a prediction that you've made about Elite that still hasn't come to fruition. Do you still believe it will happen, or have you changed your mind? Which I must admit definitely has been a little bit baity. And that 90s kid answered with, my prediction is that players will refuse to understand player progress and late game gameplay. Frontier will once again attempt to balance player interaction. Players will throw a fit because they will be forced to play with one another and be defended against. FDev backs out, which we've kind of just like talked about. We talked about earlier with the CG about how people are really enjoying playing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes back to the fact that open only power play was cancelled. There is a lot of people. There's a faction in this game that seem to think that, all right, once you got to a certain level, the only way that this game could be fun is open only PvP, and it's no, because you can't force that kind of thing on people, and it's just.
Yeah, I mean, we had. Well, when you're saying about something's being cancelled, we had Arthur. Fucking about a month ago, wasn't it? We had Arthur about a month ago on the show, and I asked him, was open only ever on the table? And he responded with no. So this idea that Frontier have had to back out because people have complained about it.
I was referring to the thing that Sandro did, and this was long before even Arthur joined. This is the kind of resentment that comes back from even way back then. That because there was
said it. There were a few people who were like, yes, make it all open only, but power play was a different kettle of fish then, weren't they?
Well, back then, this is what I'm trying to say is that the resentment for that has been constant right from the very beginning, and then when Sandro said, right, these are my power play proposals to fix power play 1.0, which were never actioned on. One of them was to make it open only, and ever since then, a lot of the open only went, yes, we want that, and most of the people who were playing power play at the time were saying, yes, we want that, and then everybody else who weren't playing power play or just even the thought of open only just said no. And then at the end of it, there's a lot of the people felt that Frontier had backed out of fixing power play, which I don't agree with now, but I did then.
Yeah.
So
I think because it took so long, and like all of these things do take a really, really long time. You know what I mean? Like we know that these things take an absolute butt ton of time, but it's I think the people who shout the loudest about open only being the only thing that can make this game good, and that is the only end game content that exists. Blah 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 blah. Because that's what I hear when they talk. Are the people who think that everyone agrees with them with that, and that they are the majority because they live in their little fucking bubbles of I'm put the same books away, Claire. It's not that kind of show.
You wanted tea? Well, here we go. Go on then.
No, carry on.
No, because I could see both sides of this. Because I remember at the time I was feeling very, very bitter that nothing was going to happen with Power Play, and that's where it all comes. But I can understand where the 90s kid is coming from. I just don't agree with him now.
Because he's not played the game for like 5 years, then maybe, isn't it?
I don't know.
Chris, save us.
Finn McRaven is here to save us. My prediction, mine, is that they'll release one ship interior, it being for the Sidewinder. It's the starter ship, and it would be easier than making one for a larger ship. It would be a test of concept, and the answer to the question, do they make a difference? Yes, we'll do more. No, Commander, stop asking.
I love that, actually.
It's kind of like, here's your proof of concept. It's in the Sidewinder, because everyone's got a Sidewinder. What do you think? You can look in your tiny bedroom on the Sidewinder and look in the cargo hold at boxes. You happy? Yes or no? Vote now. I don't know. I don't know if they do it for the Sidewinder. It would be something on a new ship, wouldn't it?
No,
it'd be like
Well, the whole thing about ship interiors, and again, why there's people who are bitter about it, is that right at the very beginning, David Braben said that that they've been working on the interiors of the ships as well, so that in the future, at some point, every ship that had been designed up to a certain point had some kind of floor plan. Yep. Nobody's ever seen any of these, and as we're not developers, we're not. Or never worked for Frontier, we never have seen any of these layouts. So it could have been, but people took him at the word, and as soon as Odyssey came along, everyone went, right, ship interiors is coming, without actually confirming it.
Yeah, what Braben sort of said was that they have a theoretical map of what the inside of the ship looks like. Mm-hmm. And after seeing the panel at PitCon this year about how they design the look of the ship, I would believe that they would have some sort of idea of how logically the ship works on the inside in order to build the model, right? Because you're not going to build some sort of very impractical looking ship model where you go, well, where would you even get in? How would you get?
And they're not going to have a ship where when the landing gear goes up, you think, hang on a minute, that's going up into where the engine is. That doesn't work. And
where does that go? Where the SRV goes, the cockpit. The SRV's ascending into the cockpit. How does this work?
It clearly helps the design process if you start out with an even fictional floor plan, because it just helps you to arrange things in a way that looks good when you build the model.
Because the same way that they sort of work on they explained how they work on all the different panels and how many panels would be used and how would you build. If you were someone constructing this, how would you bolt all the bits together in order to make the ship? And like the interior, I would see as being part of that. I don't imagine that they've got an actual floor plan down to and this is where the captain's dog would sit. I imagine that they've got some sort of idea of, well, you can't have the SRV and the SLF and the cargo bit next to this, and it just wouldn't work. So I kind of get a bit of that. I would like ship interiors, but I would need to have something around it. I mean, I get the customization options that would be there. I can imagine any money from customization would be really keen. But, you know, like they've said before, they would need some form of gameplay around it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are going to very quickly skip to just beam me back down again, please.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that really got me about everyone getting upset about the blue circle. They wanted to go up and get in the turbo lift and get out. One of the first things that happens in the older games, like Wing Commander 3 is specifically for this, is that you are given those those bits where you travel from the hangar up to the living quarters and the living quarters up to the bridge. And what's the first thing you do? You switch those transactions off because they are just mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah, there's a shortcut for skip animation that ends up happening. And in order to generate, in my head, like the reason to have ship interiors make it gameplay is kind of like, what was the one recently? So like Jump Ship, for example, that we've had recently, where you've got to refill certain consumables, you've got to repair something if it goes on fire, you've got to restock your ammo and do. So at the moment, we've got the ship just automatically is cracking on with all of this while we're getting busy, right? Yeah. So in order to add any of that as a gameplay loop, you would need to essentially write in. I mean, we were talking about how you write in gas giants, how you write in new on foot missions and bits and pieces like that. You would need to essentially say, oh, actually, ships aren't capable of doing that anymore, or this certain class of ship isn't capable of doing that anymore. It doesn't have that automation that you're used to. So now when your cargo comes in, you've got to load it yourself. I don't imagine that would land very well either. So because of the way the game now is, unless you accept taking away a lot of that automation, there's not going to be the gameplay elements, I don't think.
Well, one other thing that I think, well, I don't know if Raven has backed Starship Simulator, but they came up with a whole. They had a fantastic developer post where they explained, because they're doing sort of ship interiors for their game. They explained how actually difficult it is to do, and they can understand why it's not been done on Elite Dangerous, and they're taking their hats off to Star Citizen for doing it, because it's not easy. It's a lot. It's a lot more difficult than I think a lot of people think. So,
yeah, I bet. Interesting. Right, Map Sorcerer says to the answer, is there one prediction? Blah, blah, blah. Technically, yes, the Panther Clipper. But you've got to believe FDev when they say it is coming this month, next week, in fact. But will believe it when the ARCs leave my account.
Still not sure. No face.
Careful with those expectations. We've been bitten before.
Yeah. Waiting for the contract to arrive. That doesn't mean I've got a new job yet.
I mean, is ignoring the presence of a Panther Clipper the new sort of elephant in the room? You're just ignoring the Panther Clipper in the hangar, pretending it's not there.
Well, I have Opthanus. I wonder why I got this one. On foot VR. I mean, how hard can it be? Yeah. I touched on that. Sorry to have stolen your thunder.
Quite hard, I think, in this particular instance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure quite hard. Pretty sure we know the answer to that. It's difficult, mate. Yep. Unqualified for Life says Frontier will wake up and start caring about the console players again. Hopefully, it does happen. Otherwise, Frontier are just leaving money on the table. With the new ships and bases that you can spend real money on, it makes sense if they want to do good business. Unqualified for Life. GeForce Now exists. It is a thing. Absolutely. Transfer your account. That's how you can play well on console. I think when you answered a question about having console players 2 weeks ago, I think we answered with GeForce Now. So I don't know that you're listening to the show. A follow-up point, the reason that they don't, Frontier haven't invested money into console is because Elite on its own, even on this good year for Elite, made up 7%. Was it 7%?
Of the income, yeah.
Yeah, 7% of their overall yearly income. It ain't worth devoting a whole team to putting it on console if it's only 7%. I'm sorry, my love. Use GeForce Now.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the old console hardware just couldn't run Odyssey or the new engine. It's a horrible thing to say, but yeah, sometimes it's. I mean, it happened with the Mac. It wasn't Frontier's fault that we had the Mac version got cancelled. If the Mac had implemented the right graphic drivers, like they could have done, and when they did implement them, they were far too late. So it was.
I think also,
yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, I think also as well as it just being difficult and costly to develop for console, there's also the thing of supporting a game that runs on 3 different platforms. They evidently had to make compromises in the game across the board. So effectively in the game that the PC players saw, in order to accommodate the same game working on console, things about the way the game is controlled, things about the way screens are laid out, and things about even the graphic fidelity. There were just compromises to allow it. So it's not just the risk and cost of starting that all up again, but it's also having to accept those compromises. It's just never going to happen.
And it all comes down to that this is business game, not the game business. And if it's going to cost more money than it will bring in, then I'm afraid see my point about VR.
Yeah, no, definitely. I have got Nicey. Aside from top hats for commanders, in brackets, yes, I still want this. I want that too, Nicey. I want that too. Gas giant flight and floating stations, gathering materials, trying not to implode, and it look pretty too. Very right. You've got another vote for your gas giants, Alec.
Yeah. There's a lot of people want this. It seems doable. Doesn't it?
Don't say that. You know what? When you were talking about like having like a pretty floating station in a gas giant, I was thinking like the colonization stations, the way they sort of like fan out. Do you know what I mean? With the big lights. I think that may be built up slightly differently with an underneath. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just like the flat things. Maybe that just built out a little bit would be sufficient as a base with like an umbrella to stay aloft, and I don't know. That was where my brain went.
No, I like it. Built out and with a concourse way down the bottom.
Yeah.
And just make the lift journey a lot longer, so you get the sense of going down that central shaft.
Oh, no, that would be cool.
Maybe with some windows to go past occasionally.
Oh, come on, Alec.
Is that too much? That's too much, isn't it?
No, we've asked for too much now. We've asked for too much. No, it's off the table now. No,
windows in elevators? You've gone mad.
Working elevators in space? Come on.
Crazy. Oh God, I know why you've given me this one to do, Claire.
I don't know what you're on about. It just appeared in that order. I didn't shift it. I honestly didn't.
LCU No Fall Like One says, "Not my prediction, but my colleague Sovereign Winter predicts that one day someone will discover a terraformable ice world. It is his white whale."
such a good impression of LCU.
It's like he's in the room.
It's so good.
Uncanny.
Like picturing him there with the raffle tickets. It's just
And all his winning prizes.
Did Terraform All Icy World not exist? I'm genuinely shocked at that. I just thought they would do.
I don't actually pay that much attention to the words that you get when you scan things.
I'm now going to be looking for Terraformable AC World because I'm sure they existed.
I'm gonna I would say that LCU is probably close to being the authority on this of them not existing.
You never know.
I was certain they existed. Wild.
Yeah. Well, I have Beetlejuice. Flying through clouds of a gas giant. Another one for you, Alec. I already felt that the Maelstrom showed this was programmable for them. I hope they might pop it in one day, where there's a game loop reason for it. Maybe piracy, or smuggling, or maybe there might be space whales we can harvest. Sorry, I just put in the space whales, but I just thought of that.
That could be the arrival of big game hunting, Colin. We might finally close that one if we get gas giant space whales. Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got to harvest them for the Ryle ashes. That's
my
God.
I do miss. Do you know? I do miss those early days of the Maelstrom clouds before we even knew how to get through them. when we really had to harvest stuff, they made a lot of the kind of engineering, the pulse wave thing that we needed to get. But they made that a lot easier to get. But initially, you really had to go and collect all those different materials from in the Maelstrom. That was such good gameplay. Really enjoyed that. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good gameplay. Oh, shame it's never coming back. Daedalus says, the Guardians and or Constructs will show up at some point. I still think this will happen. If it's the Constructs, then any commander with Guardian tech will be in trouble.
You know what? I think that's still a possible future thing.
Agreed. With 2 years worth of content planned, I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
There are still those. Yeah, there's still those open threads there.
Yeah, because when you see what they did with the Fargoid War and what the rollout of that was like over time, then yeah, 2 years of story and whatnot, absolutely can believe that. I have Silas Rezi. I was expecting more Fargoid lore and stories involving the different Fargoid clans. So kind of back on the war footing and the story around that. Potential more Fargoid stuff? Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Oh, go on, Alex. Sorry, you first.
No, it's right.
Well, I'm going to be controversial and say I think everybody's a bit Thargoided out.
I don't know that everybody is. I would say I certainly am. And from you saying that you thinking everybody is, you certainly are. I know there is a big handful of community who will still bugger off down to the Pleiades that haven't been colonized and are still left with plenty of stuff that the Thargoids haven't noped out from. But they will still go there. I know a lot of people who still very much love going down and tickling a Thargoid now and again. I'm quite happy to shelve all my Thargoid ships for years, personally. But I get a nostalgia and a want to still go and do that. I'm glad that there's still a place where people can go to do it.
And,
for sure.
Yeah, I'd be up for another grand scale story. I wouldn't be up for another Fargoid war because we've just had a Fargoid war. So yeah, another grand big arching story with gameplay elements and stuff in it. Absolutely.
It's
Not
time
quite
for
the Fargoy bit.
it's time to sort of like maybe we can have a little bit of time where we don't focus on like one particular aspect of the community, and we sort of like go, hey, we're gonna give the playground to you now, which is what they've done with colonization, and to a lot of extent power play, and people are now learning the BGS, and I love that, and those kind of things. There's a lot more to do and play about in. But if you still want to go and feel like you're attacking these big, huge, ginormous creatures, you can still go and do that. Just not in my bubble.
Here's a prediction for you. I got a prediction for you. Next year, not this year, next year, when everyone buggers off on Distant Worlds 3, big Guardian storyline starts playing out in the bubble.
Oh, please get only when they're halfway. Only when they're halfway, and I'll be right. It's all right, lads. We got this.
See them all screech to a
Yes,
halt, half of them
seriously.
come running back again.
Oh man, I love that so much.
Although, I mean, that was semi-joking, but actually, I could see them, leaving the big storyline this year, being very light on Galnet this year, and just doing these little things that tie in with power play-based CGs, but then revisit, coming back with another story next year. The timing would be about right for that. Anyway, the Stig's cousin says, I'm still holding out for XL ships. I don't think they'll happen, but I still hold out hope. Honestly, he gives people a Panther Clipper, and the next thing they want, XL ships.
I think Stig's cousin's been sort of talking about that for a while now.
Sort of the halfway house between a Panther Clipper and a fleet carrier.
Is that what they are? Where did these come from? Are these a thing? XL ships?
Again, this is something that it went back to what David Braben was saying in the Kickstarter, where they were talking about ships which were too big for the stations, and that you had to basically ferry stuff to and from them,
right?
And you also had to you'd have to fuel them up in a different way and all that kind of stuff. And to tell you the truth, I'm just there saying, well, you kind of really got that with a fleet carrier, except you can't fly a fleet carrier. You just tell it where to go.
That's a big difference for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't. One of the things he then said later on is that he liked the idea that the fact that the ship size is restricted by the size of the docking port, and yeah, I think that's great. I don't think. Well, for me anyway, I don't need a ship that big.
Yeah.
In a funny way, it feels a little bit like the desire for something like a pilotable fleet carrier size ship or an XL ship is a bit like the desire for a ship interior, in that I get that the idea is appealing, but I can't help thinking the practicality would be like, oh, this is really boring. I'm really bored.
The implication of this, yeah, I get you.
But maybe that's the crossover between the two things that we're asking for, isn't it? Because like I was saying earlier on about a lot of the gameplay that other games use ship interiors for, we've got automated in our ships. If you had your XL ship that is that bridge between a fleet carrier and a Panther Clipper size, anything that can fit through the mail slot type ship, that might be the excuse for you to have your chief engineer running about doing stuff, or someone having to power up different things or charge up weapons instead of just sitting in a chair. That could be your crossover ship. Now, how you logically make all of those things work within the engine and and make everything cooperate together, as in your people that are on board the ship don't get kicked out by instancing when you jump and then try and fight someone else, and then someone gets out on an SRV and it's all broken. I've got no idea. But that might be your crossover between the two. Yeah.
It sounds like what you want is something like Bridge Commander or Bridge Crew, where everybody has their own specific role, like a Star Trek bridge, and you've got to jump the ship and fly the ship together. Okay, yeah. Starship Simulator is in production. No, I don't mean to. I don't mean to.
Jump ship has like people working different bits. I think that's probably a good shout for you to. I mean, that's not in a big ship per se, but it's still it certainly scratches that itch for me, at least. That kind of similar itch.
Yeah, I mean, like the X universe games like X3, you could kind of work your way up to having like a large ship that you could then land some of your smaller ships or dock some of your smaller ships with. And when you were flying it in inverted commas, you could kind of sort of point and shoot and go, hey, I want to go over there. And it would kind of slowly move its way over in that general direction. That's about as much of the piloting you could really do with some of the big like carrier class type ships. But yeah, I don't quite see how it's going to fit into this one.
Right. I've got the jinx effects here. Commander slots. Less of a prediction and more of a crossed fingers wishing really hard. When the Arc Store launched, I was hoping there'd be a gateway for Frontier selling additional commander slots to honour account profiles. That way, switching playstyles, i.e. law-abiding citizen to career, criminal or feder imp, to whatever shorthand play aligns, on different commanders without having to fully sign out and sign back in again. I am losing hope, though. What's the benefit for Frontier to do this when we're all too willing to buy the game, DLC and cosmetics all over again, and switch between different accounts, myself included? The game often isn't expensive thanks to sales throughout the year, but it's a small quality of life improvement that would make a big difference for me. Yeah, because I get where he's coming from. The FOMO is real.
I think
so. Yeah.
I think I would play on my alt accounts more if I could go to the main menu and switch to and just switch to an alt rather than having to log all the way out, log into a different Steam account, log back into Elite, make sure it's the right one linked and all of that nonsense. I think I'd play on I've got like 7 alts. I haven't played them for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like any alt account, I think I've just been on my main. So I wouldn't be averse to even paying for another commander if I could have it, like pay ARX for linking my commander to my main account kind of thing. That'd be great.
I agree with you on that one. Even though I think oh God, how much have I spent? I don't want to think about how much I spent.
So much money, Colin. So I have Little Biggin who says, so my prediction was that the Thargoids would get added in as a shadow play power so they can have dynamically evolving invasions. A Thargoid stronghold would be a Titan being deployed. I no longer believe this will happen.
And I must admit, I would love this to happen, really, because even though I've said I'm Thargoid out, ask me again in 6 months, and you'll sort of say I've kind of missed the Thargoid war. I would, but I don't think it'll happen either, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that was our question of the week. I'll ask another one on Sunday. It will depend. So what would be really, really cool is for us to get or the elite partner program have historically had access to preview accounts for ships for the ships. So keep an eye out, because it might happen. I can guarantee you none of us know yet yes or no, but it might happen. There might be a conversation around that, or there might be another question that is just filler for the week. Who knows? Who heckin' knows?
So this time next week we might be flying around in Panther Clippers. So I guess Shoutouts. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday from 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the Discerning Commander that likes a bit of CQC action, you can go to the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We're also giving shout-outs to the other Elite Dangerous podcasts. That would be the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well, Loose Screws, and, of course, If You Speak French.
Just let the funky music do the talking.
Yeah, there's the Elite Dangerous podcast, who also do these wonderful missions as well. So following on this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, that's provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd like just to thank all the people that have chipped in on the Twitch chat or have visited the Chris Mark IV in the station. Chris, who have we got?
We have had a Rocky Star, Happy Moon Monkey, Bog Rat, Frozen Satsuma. We've had Timmy G, who has joined us live for the first time, Frandra, and Siberius.
Excellent. We'll also say special thanks to Commander Tokuso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music for this show. Has anybody got any other business they'd just like to quickly mention before we go?
Absolutely, I do. Donate to Special Effect using any of the 10K Your Way links or the Buckyball 10K Your Way link linked in the show notes for the description. Okay, love you.
Excellent. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find the contact links in the home/contact us menu of the laveradio.com website. Do let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Alec.
Thanks, Colin. Good night, all.
Thanks to Claire Good, Commander Psychit.
That's me. Those are all of my names. Thanks, Cole.
Thanks, of course, to the Chris Mark IV for staring out of the window very dutifully and not breaking it.
I stare so well.
And of course, special thanks goes to today's tech specialists, Commander Epathis, or Chris Epathicris, or Packet Crisps.
What's wrong with you?
You're welcome.
What's right with me after the
Barney.
Somebody was asking, are there any after effects from my visit to Amsterdam? I think there must be after this show. Right. So until...
that's the filler question of the week sorted.
So until next time, Commanders, fly safe. If you can't do that, fly dangerous. Or just fly high.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word.
Space can be lonely.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Update, 15th of July, 3311. Concern is growing that war between the Minotaur Val and Pranav is inevitable, following in the footsteps of all the other power leaders. Senator Zemina Torval, the 134-year-old wrinkly prune who heads up Torval Mining Limited, has not previously had much to do with the mushroom-licking techno-hippie spiritual leader of the Utopia Commune. But the pressure of historical precedents weighs heavily on her shoulders. Every power leader other than Torval and Antal have been in some sort of power-based altercation this year. In April, Senator Denton Petraeus and Shadow President Jerome Archer came to blows over the Chi Eridani system. In May, Rebel Admiral Yuri Grom took on President Felicia Winters in a platinum mining competition in LP 855-34. In June, we had a thrilling trade war in the alliance between Prime Minister Edmund Mahon and Councillor Nakato Kane, followed soon after by Pirate King Archon Delane totally failing to thrash Emperor Arissa Lavigny Duval in Beta 3 Tucani. The most recent and ongoing fifth interpower spat is the three-handed ding-dong between Sirius boss Lee Yong-ri and federal runner-up Jerome Archer on the one side, and bubbly 35-year-old Princess Aisling Duval on the other, a conflict that spans 6 systems and is a dead cert for Aisling to win, even if she also loses the systems as a byproduct of the political instability caused by the fighting. So, that just leaves Torval and the Sim Guru sticking out like the sore thumbs who haven't yet been picked to play. Will it be a conflict over an obscure system somewhere not very interesting, or will Antal put out an appeal for more stratum tectonicus to smoke, while Torval demands her slaves deliver ridiculous quantities of bromellite, and the winner's whoever gathers most of their chosen esoteric commodity? The powers seem to have been causing needless and in some cases totally out of character conflict with each other over the past few months. It almost feels as if someone behind the scenes is keen to foment open conflict between the powers, although it seems far from clear in whose interest that would be. The majority of powers seem to be expanding rapidly and largely peacefully, taking advantage of the hugely successful Trailblazers colonization initiative to expand out from the bubble rather than to squabble over a few core systems. Commanders, meanwhile, are happy to earn access to new modules by ranking up in their chosen power, but they're equally happy to pile into the organised interpower initiatives to earn the engineered modules they get as a reward, even if they have no association with either side in the conflict and no interest in the outcome. Perhaps part of the problem is the increasing homogeneity of the power leaders. It's hard to say what Sirius stands for these days, or the Empire, or the Federation, or Alliance. Shadow President Archer hasn't said anything provocative, while Princess Aisling hasn't led a campaign against slavery. Delane made a few grumpy remarks about being attacked by the Empire and then presumably went back to polishing his cutlass. Mahon may well have continued being unbearably boring and bureaucratic, but if so, he's done it in complete privacy. Without visibility of the personalities behind power play, it's hard to feel a sense that you're fighting on the side of truth or justice or slaves or plant lickers or corporate greed or piracy. They're all much of a muchness, these power leaders, and when the conflict between Torval the mining matriarch and tech bro Antal kicks off on the 24th or 31st of July, or in August, we'll all pile in on one side or the other to earn the engineered modules, and then we'll get on with colonising the galaxy.